so empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step.
Is the one that God will give to you. It may not be what you think, but it is exactly what God has reserved for you. So be alert and be ready for the great surprise in your life on Christmas Day. Okay? So it's like the Word became flesh and it dwelt among you, and you received that gift. Okay? Now, I think I have already spoken because I would like to return again to the Advent trip, because as I said, just last Sunday we start our journey, and our journey this day, starting today, is already the second week of the journey. And the first week of the journey of Advent, which we started last year, was the journey of hope. And I would like to recall your memory on what I shared to you last week, that with the lighting of the Advent candle of hope, it, in a way, reviving the drooping hope, that seemingly is already almost gone, but having lighted the Advent candle of hope last week, is a sign that that hope is being revived. That hope is again being offered to you by God. And never to lose hope. Because that lighting of the first Advent candle serves as a reminder to you that hope has been regained. By regaining, that means we are able to recover it, especially to those of you who might be already at the point of losing hope. In whatever situation that hope applies in your life. Hope in terms of, for those of you who might be at the point of already giving up on your employment, or hope that something not good might happen in terms of your relationship with your employer, and then all of a sudden, this week, it got twisted, and the way your employer has dealt with you has changed a bit, meaning that Advent candle of hope is really working in you. And you are seeing signs of that Advent candle of hope is really working in your own personal life. That when that Advent candle of hope was lighted, as I mentioned last week, it is actually you who have been being lighted by the Lord. You are that candle being lighted. And you are that hope that when that was lighted, you were the ones being lighted by God. The Advent candle of hope. And again, trying to recall last week's sharing, I mentioned to you the importance of never entertain negativity. Never entertain any negative thoughts, because that will put down your hope. So, discipline your negative thoughts. Discipline your negative feelings. Because once the negative thoughts and the negative feelings take charge of you, then that will really put you down. It will dampen your energy, and it will also create in you fear of trying something which is not familiar to you, fear of trying to for example, in terms of relationship, will the second time of our relationship still work? Because they said love is sweeter the second time around. Or you learn from experience, no? So it doesn't necessarily mean that if you fail the first time, the second time will be the same. It does not necessarily follow. You will only fail if you did not put on your best. You will only fail if you fear to do something about the situation. Okay? So, does it necessarily follow that when you are broken-hearted the first time, the second and the third will be the same? No, it does not. Does it necessarily follow that when your husband or the wife cheated you, does it necessarily follow that all the way your relationship will be severe? That means your relationship will always be in conflict. No. Because there is no such thing as a perfect marriage. There is no such thing as a perfect relationship. Because many would say that compatibility means you have the same thought, you have the same likes and dislikes. No. The reason why you're compatible is you are the best person to help support, and guide one another. Because when you are of the same thinking, the relationship will not last long. Why? Boring. Boring. No? So I'm not saying that Father said it's boring. Okay, let's create trouble. No, it doesn't mean that way. No? So, I don't know whether I mentioned in terms of hope that some of us are products of broken family. By broken family means parents are separated. Broken family means siblings are not in good terms with each other. No? Does it necessarily follow that because you are a product of broken family, when you build your own family, it will also be a broken family? I don't think so. I don't think so. Because broken family can only happen if we don't do something about it. It can only happen if we allow it to happen. And in my interviews of couples preparing for marriage, when I mentioned that to them, immediately they will react and say, Father, if I am a product of a broken family, I will not allow that to happen with my family. Because it should stop there. No? It should stop from me. No? And I learned from my experience, no, that I will not do it also with my own family that I am trying to build. As much as possible, we want a happy family. There are those of you who have entertained to enter into business. Does it necessarily follow that when your first business fails, that when your first business fails, the second also will fail? No. Again, we learn from our mistakes. And it's just a matter of trying to find out which business will suit you best, or which business will be good for you, because your talent is really on that. I suppose you will not open a business if you are not a good cook. You will not open a restaurant or a food business if you are not a good cook. You need to be. You need to be. Because when you lose your cook, usually the owner is the second option. And sometimes the owner is the best cook rather than the... What happened? I think there's because by the time I finish, I will be there. Am I moving? Okay, so the Advent candle of hope. No? So I hope that we never lose hope. No? Because the moment we lose hope, that's dangerous. Then there is, as I said, there is no more meaning in life. Remember the word hope in last week? Do you remember what? Was I the one who said mass here last week?
Yes.
Last Saturday. Okay. Remember the word hope, what it stands for? The hold on, pain ends. No, hold on, pain ends. Okay. Those two domestic helpers that I shared to you earlier, no, at the beginning of the Mass, who were acquitted, but they served 3 years in jail. 3 years. And supposedly, no, supposedly, the government is to pay for them because they have overstayed. And why were they sentenced and why were they detained and put into prison for something that they did not do at the end? So having been acquitted, of course, they will have no record, so they can continue to work. And as I always tell those inmates in Lobo and Thailam and also in Stanley, that when you finish your term here and when you return to the Philippines, you have no criminal record in our country. So you can still work in other countries in the world except Hong Kong. So never lose hope. It doesn't necessarily mean that you commit a crime here or whatever violation of the law that that's the end of your life. It's not. You can still work in other countries, no? No. And remember last week when I shared to you that patient whom I thought